We've all been told it's important to eat our vegetables, but what about drinking our vegetables? Well, green superfood powders, also just called greens powders, have come a pretty long way in the past few decades, and now there's a wide variety of these supplements for a wide variety of purposes as well. There are supplements out there that are made of a lot of ground up vegetables and sea vegetables and fruits and grains with the goal of improving anti-aging, resilience to certain effects of aging, also for vitamins, for antioxidants, for probiotics, for digestion, all these different categories. And so today we are going to be going through the best greens powders on the market for your individual needs. I've tried out dozens and dozens of green superfood powders to land on this list for you guys, and we're going to be talking about not just the best in each category, but also the science behind them, the benefits of each one, the benefits of common ingredients found in them, and we're answering very, very commonly asked questions, especially the most commonly asked question, which is, can this just replace fruits and vegetables? Stick around to find out. And before I go on, I should make it clear, I'm not a medical professional. If you are making big changes or any changes at all to your supplement or nutrition regimen or exercise regimen, make absolutely certain that you speak to a medical professional who has knowledge of your history, your medications, and just what's going to work best for you. And before answering a couple of questions about greens powders, I think I'm just going to tell you right now what the best pick on the list is, because that's likely why you're clicking this video, and I respect you. So what I'm going to show you here is Athletic Greens AG1. This is our pick for the best greens powder overall, because it's very, very well-rounded. It's got a lot more vitamins and minerals that you normally see in greens powders. This also has a ton of antioxidant-dense ingredients. Very, very interesting product. But I also wanted to say, can you replace fruits and vegetables with a greens powder? No, you cannot. Don't do that. If you're taking a multivitamin to get a lot of vitamins and minerals, greens powders are a very interesting addition to your supplement regimen as a means to supplement a bunch of other healthful stuff that you'll find in foods. But just as multivitamins are not a replacement for fruits and vegetables, nor are these, nor are greens powders, simply because there's a lot more fiber in fruits and vegetables and also typically more vitamins as well. Check the nutrition labels, you'll see what I mean. But greens powders are interesting sources of antioxidants, phytonutrients, and a lot of underserved areas of nutrition that a lot of supplements ignore. Now, Athletic Greens is our pick for the best greens powder overall. AG1 is the product. I've got a few other products as well. The reason we like AG1 is that it just is active in a really wide area of nutrition. This has a lot of vitamins and minerals, including a lot of important ones, especially if you're not eating a ton of meat, like vitamin B12. You're also getting almost 500% of the recommended daily intake of vitamin C. You're getting plenty of biotin as well, which a lot of people like to take for stronger hair and healthier nails, healthier skin, that kind of thing. But in addition to actual micronutrients, which again is pretty rare for these sorts of nutrition supplements, surprisingly enough, this has got a lot of ingredients that are very, very high in antioxidants. So ingredients like wheatgrass, spirulina, chlorella, these are very, very common in greens powders because of the density of their antioxidants. But there's also more. They've got adaptogens, which could help the body to manage stress throughout the day, be that stress from a stressful day at the office or from a workout. So adaptogens have links to mental clarity and also workout recovery, that kind of thing. On top of that, you've got probiotic bacteria, which is going to be good for the gut microbiome, the bacteria that live in your gut that helps you break down and digest food, as well as potentially have an impact on inflammation and mental health, on immunity, all of that. And there's prebiotics in there as well. And on top of all of that, it is surprisingly tasty. There are no artificial flavors or sweeteners or anything in this, but they've dropped in a couple of extracts. There's like some papaya powder in there, some mango powder. So Athletic Greens AG1, definitely our favorite overall for greens powders. We also think AG1 is the best greens powder for energy. There's such a wide variety of nutrients in Athletic Greens that there are a few different ways that can help to potentially improve energy levels. So for example, there's alpha lipoic acid in here, which has a role in helping cells convert glucose to energy. There's also CoQ10, which is a very interesting supplement that has been found to potentially help to increase the health of the mitochondria of the cells, which is like where the energy is generated inside our cells. There's also a wide range of adaptogens in here, as I mentioned earlier. So stuff like astragalus, stuff like rhodiola rosea in particular, and a lot of people, myself included, like to take rhodiola rosea in the morning because there's very interesting evidence, and I can speak from experience, that it can help to provide like a nice, smooth source of energy, some clarity, in a way that caffeine doesn't. So if you want to get a bit more extra energy without taking a whole bunch of extra caffeine, a lot of people have rhodiola rosea as their means for doing that. So AG1 is our favorite greens powder for energy for a pretty wide variety of reasons. It's also our favorite greens powder for digestion. Athletic Greens has 7.2 billion probiotic bacteria per serving, and on top of that, it's from 2 different families of bacteria, because it's not just the amount of bacteria in our guts, It's also the diversity of the population that can play a key role in improving various areas of our health. There's also some prebiotic fiber in here from inulin and other sources, and prebiotic fiber feeds probiotic bacteria. So when you are combining the two of them, there's a lot of interesting research suggesting that you kind of get more out of the probiotics you consume when you're also eating food for them to eat, which makes sense. Like the healthier, they spread to more areas of the digestive tract and so on. And then lastly, there are digestive enzymes in here as well. And there's been interesting research suggesting that taking enzymes helps to improve your nutrient absorption and improve some other areas of gut health as well. So you've got the probiotics, you've got the prebiotics, and you get the digestive enzymes, and these are why AG1 is our favorite greens powder for digestion. Before we move on from AG1, it is worth knowing that it is a bit on the pricey side because there's just so much packed into this product, like more than other greens powders on the market. If you just get a one-off bag, if you just want to try it out, it's about $100 for this bag of 30 servings, so $3.33 per serving. If you subscribe though to get monthly shipments, so every 30 days after your 30 servings runs out, you get a new bag, the price drops down to about $2.60. Next up, we're going to talk about one of our favorite supplement companies' offerings. This is Swolverine. Swolverine has a greens and reds powder, which we find to be the best tasting on the market. When you see a reds powder, that generally means they've added a bit more fruits and berries into the mix than you normally find, because greens powders are typically very, very heavy on spirulina and wheatgrass, like the really densely green components. This is a mix of the two of them. So you're getting pomegranate juice powder in here, blueberry powder, bilberry powder, and so on. And what you're getting here is something that is natural orange flavors. So no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners. But unlike a lot of greens powders, Swolverine has gone ahead and added flavoring to it to make it more palatable and actually give it more of like a flavor identity than you're gonna find in other products. We're a really big fan of this one, the natural orange flavor, and we also named it the best greens powder for spirulina as well. Spirulina, maybe on par with wheatgrass as far as like the most popular components in green superfood powders. Spirulina, very, very dense source of antioxidants, but there's also been a lot of research on spirulina suggesting that it can potentially help with inflammation levels, with immunity, with cholesterol, with blood pressure, a really wide variety of them. Now, in this product, you are getting 2.5 grams of spirulina in every scoop, but you're also getting the same amount of wheatgrass and chlorella. So those three ingredients, chlorella, wheatgrass, and spirulina, will have pretty similar results in the literature as far as like the antioxidant density and the potential effect on metabolic health, on the waistline as well. There's been some interesting weight loss studies there too. Obviously your calories are the most important feature. Nonetheless, there is pretty interesting evidence that adding these very, very, very antioxidant dense components to your diet can have a very wide ranging array of benefits. So if you want to get some of those benefits, Swolverine's Greens and Reds is our favorite vehicle for them, and it's pretty good tasting as well. Now before I go on, I know I am saying a lot of things in a strange accent kind of quickly about benefits and research and effects and studies and literature, so I would understand if you would like a written version of this article that goes into more depth and has all these studies that we have been citing throughout it. So we did that. So if you want to Google Barben Best Greens Powders, the article version of this video will come right up and you can take in all this information at your own pace and have a look at the literature yourself and decide which of these products is right for you. So definitely take a look at that article and you will have a more comprehensive and well-rounded approach to this whole area of nutrition, and you'll be more empowered to get the right product for yourself. So cost-wise, Swolverine's is a lot less expensive than AG1 at about $1.75 per serving, but that is not the best value greens powder on the market. The best greens powder for the money is the option from KOS. K-O-S, it's pronounced KOS. This is our favorite greens powder for the money. It is just $1 per serving, maybe like $1.01, but very inexpensive for what you're getting here. Now, it does not have as broad an array of nutrients and ingredients as the more pricey option on the list. Naturally, that makes sense, but it is still a good source of ingredients that are high in antioxidants. So this one is not a fantastic source of probiotics or digestive enzymes. You do have prebiotics here, the prebiotic bacteria. You get a solid 2 grams of it. And as mentioned, that's also still going to be a good addition to your gut health. On top of that, you're also getting these classic antioxidant dense ingredients that you find in greens powders, namely chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass, and oatgrass, which is also commonly in that family. You're not getting as much spirulina and chlorella. You're getting 250 milligrams, whereas normally you're getting 2,500 milligrams of those ingredients. But you're also getting a solid 4-gram serving of the wheatgrass. It comes in wheatgrass juice powder, wheatgrass whole powder, and the oatgrass whole powder. So that's a pretty impressive amount. You're definitely going to get a solid amount of antioxidants there and their benefits. So Costa's greens powder, it doesn't have like the probiotics and adaptogens or some of the more expensive ones, but it is very dense in the classic, most coveted ingredients in these greens powders, like the very dense greens, the wheatgrass, chlorella, oatgrass, and so on. On top of that, it has a nice apple sorbet flavoring, so they put a bit more effort into the flavoring than most other greens powders. And also, we know this is our best pick for organic greens powder. They're often in greens powders, you'll find some organic components, but they're not 100% organic, so it doesn't get that USDA organic certification. And you're not getting those potential benefits of 100% organic products that a lot of people like to stick to, especially the audience that tends to like greens powders. But right here, costs 100% organic. They've got the certification right there on the side, and every last one of the ingredients is certified organic. So if you say have concerns about the kinds of pesticides used in conventional farming and you just want to stick to organic, this is gonna be the right greens powder for you. Next up, while a lot of people like to get plenty of grasses and seeds and so on in their greens powders, there are plenty who want to emphasize the vegetable content. So that's why here we have the best greens powders with the vegetable blend, and that one is here from Gnarly Sports Nutrition. Nope, that's actually their pre-workout. This is it. This is the Performance Greens from Gnarly Sports Nutrition. In here, you are going to be getting kale, spinach, broccoli, all the ones that your mum tried to make you eat when you were younger and that you didn't want to, all ground up in here with a very nice, pleasant, easy to stomach taste. In addition to that, you got tomato. Not technically a vegetable, but still, you do find it on salads, not on fruit salads. There's also kelp, we got the carrot too, and you also have the normal chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass, oatgrass, and barley grass. So you have both the classic greens powder ingredients and the ground up vegetables as well, but it's also a surprisingly nutritious greens powder. Again, while I think it's totally fine to just expect the antioxidant dense components and not really expect a lot of vitamins and minerals, this also has the vitamins and minerals. So you're getting a really solid, and I'm talking about 100% of the recommended daily intake of like vitamins A, C, E, D, K, B12, great for vegans and vegetarians. You're even getting 12% of daily calcium in this one. So it's very nutritious with micronutrients. It's nutritious as far as the content of greens and vegetables. And you've also got probiotics in this. You've also got adaptogens in the forms of cordyceps and reishi mushrooms and ginseng. And you've even got some organic beetroot here to potentially improve nitric oxide, blood flow, and sports performance. Very solid product. And we also think it's the best greens powder on the go because they also have a different version of this where they're all measured out into little bags for daily servings. So you can buy a bag of 5, and if you're traveling or if you're just like out and about, or if you like to have this with a meal or with lunch, you can just take them out on the town with you. So this is the best with vegetables, the best vegetable blend greens powder, and also the best greens powder for folks on the go. Next up, there are some greens powders out there that are so high in fiber that you can potentially use them to double as a fiber supplement, in addition to all the other stuff that you're gonna get in the greens powder. Transparent Labs is our favorite greens powder for fiber. It's a pretty easy argument to make. This has over 20% of the recommended daily intake of fiber, with 6 fat grams of it in every serving. What's interesting about Transparent Labs, we really like this company here because they are very, as the name suggests, transparent. So if you go to their site, they'll typically have like citations for why they included all the ingredients that they have. This one is very heavy on aquatic greens and fiber. That's what they're focusing on. They didn't go really hard on the probiotics or on the ground up vegetables or fruits, that kind of stuff. They just kind of said to themselves, well, look, people tend to like spirulina and chlorella, so let's just use a lot of that. So there's 6 grams of the 2 of them in this, 3 grams of each, which is very heavy in those 2 ingredients. In addition to that, you have several sources of fiber. You got them from acacia fiber, green banana, Jerusalem artichoke, and chicory root. And if you are very familiar with the world of nutrition, then you may have noticed that all of those are sources of prebiotic fiber in addition to regular fiber, like soluble and insoluble fiber. So what that is to say is not only is this a good way to get over 20%, 21% of your recommended intake of fiber, you're also getting a lot of prebiotic fiber in there, which means that this as a source of fiber doesn't just have the normal benefits of fiber, it also has the gut health benefits to your probiotic bacteria that only prebiotic fiber has. So Transparent Labs, if all you want from a greens powder is sea greens and fiber, then I recommend prebiotic greens, aquatic greens, and fiber. They've just like leaned right into that direction, and they've made a very good, wholly dedicated greens powder in those 2 areas. Speaking of greens and fiber supplements, if you're the type who likes to combine your supplements, you'll be very happy to know that there's a pretty interesting entry in the list of greens powders with proteins. The supplement that can combine the 2 of these, hit 2 birds with 1 stone. It's the really gigantic bag in front of me from Kylea. This is the best greens powder with protein. Naturally, this is bigger because you're getting a lot more volume because they have to fit in protein here. What's interesting as well is that it's vegan protein. So the folks who tend to gravitate towards greens powders, a good percentage of those like to avoid animal products, at least where possible. So this one here, it does have a pretty considerable 11 grams of protein in 126 calories, but the protein itself comes from a vegan blend of pea, rice, and pumpkin seed. So you're getting a pretty good amount of protein here, but also it is indeed a dedicated greens powder. Like, you've got a ton of nutrition here. You've got like 100% of your daily vitamin D. You've got 600% of your daily vitamin K, which a lot of us don't get enough of. It helps with bone strength, especially when you're taking calcium with it. You've also got choline, lycopene, lutein, a lot of antioxidants as well. Plenty of enzymes. You're getting 5 different enzymes here. You've got a probiotics formula here as well from several different families. You're getting some adaptogens as well because you're getting astragalus, eleuthera root, rhodiola rosea, all this kind of stuff. So it is a very good, solid, dedicated greens powder. They don't tell you how much probiotic bacteria they have, which is like a little bit annoying. And also it is pretty pricey. It's $100 for a bag. So it's about as much as Athletic Greens, right? You're getting more calories and more protein with it. Some might see that as a pro, some might see that as a con. It's not as dense in some areas of the ingredients as Athletic Greens is. Nonetheless, you are looking at about $3.33 per serving. If you subscribe, though, the price drops to $85-ish, and then you're gonna be paying $2.80 per serving. So you do have options there. Subscribing is always a good way to save some extra money on your supplements. You can do it with Kylea and get 11 grams of protein with your greens. Lastly, what's the best greens powder for antioxidants? You've heard me say that word a lot in this video. And the thing with antioxidants is it's not hard to say, and it's not hard to find evidence that, let's say, spirulina and chlorella are very high in antioxidants, very dense with antioxidants. But to get really precise, like how many antioxidants, or rather what is the antioxidant potency of a product, that's a bit more complicated, it's a bit hard to do, and very few companies go through the trouble of getting it measured. But ORAC-Energy Greens does. ORAC is the scale people use to measure the antioxidant potency of a product. It stands for oxygen radical absorbance capacity. And this has an ORAC score of 40,000. And what that means is you're getting about 10 times more antioxidants than you're going to get in 100 grams of blueberries, which are pretty famously dense in antioxidants. So that's really nice. And probably if you've been watching this video and you heard me say that, you experience a sense of relief and satisfaction that you didn't realize you were chasing when you were looking at all the other products. And that's because they tell you precisely how strong it is as far as antioxidant potency goes. On top of that, there's also like plenty of other ingredients as well. There are beta-glucan mushrooms in here, which have interesting links with lowering cholesterol as well. You've got plenty of organic berries, you've got probiotics and prebiotic bacteria in here. And then the probiotics, you're getting 1.2 billion, which is not as many as Athletic Greens, but it still is pretty considerable, and you get them from about a half dozen different families. So that's really nice for the diversity of the gut. There's more in here. There's plenty of adaptogens. There's plenty of ginger extracts and other ingredients designed to lower inflammation. It's a very solid greens powder. It is not as tasty as the other products here, but it is not as disgusting as I would say the majority of greens powders out there. And it's pretty inexpensive too. This tub here is about $1 per day. And if you get a bigger one of 60 servings, the price drops to about 70 cents per serving. So very inexpensive, very transparent with how strong and how effective it is. And you're also getting plenty of other stuff outside of simply greens and antioxidants with the adaptogens and everything like that. So yeah, very solid pick from ORAC-Energy Greens. So that does it for our list of the best greens powders. I wanted to just quickly go over again the difference between greens powders and multivitamins. That's a question that we get a lot. To summarize what I said earlier in this video, multivitamins provide vitamins and minerals. Sometimes other stuff, but generally vitamins and minerals together. And the FDA has official recommendations for the daily intake of vitamins and minerals. Then there's other areas of nutrition, specifically like antioxidants, we talk about a lot, antioxidants and phytonutrients, that are, in some respects, they're vitamins that didn't make the cut, like that haven't been deemed as necessary as the essential vitamins and minerals. However, when you hear every other day that a study has come out saying that, blueberries have this link to longevity, or this kind of fruit has that link to less prostate cancer and that sort of thing, this is usually studies on antioxidants and phytonutrients that have been found to be linked to certain benefits. So it's a really good idea to get a lot of antioxidants, phytonutrients. And just so you know what I mean with this word I've been saying over and over again in this video, antioxidants help to combat the damage that occurs to the cells in our bodies from free radicals. So long story short, antioxidants help to slow or prevent cellular damage, and in that respect, they actually help to slow certain effects of aging, which is very exciting to a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people like to get their antioxidants in their diet. Outside of those, again, you've got the adaptogens helping the body to manage stress. They can also provide some nice natural energy and improve focus. They've also got probiotics and prebiotics and enzymes to help improve digestive health as well. Now, varying products in the industry have other things in them, but those are broadly the areas of nutrition that antioxidants provide. And when you get asked that question again, antioxidants versus multivitamins, what's the difference? Antioxidants exist to provide nutrition in areas that multivitamins don't. And there are actually a lot of areas of nutrition outside of vitamins and minerals. Although officially, according to the FDA, vitamins and minerals, those are the most important parts of nutrition. There's a lot more that you should be looking at too. So that's all I've got for you today. If you want to check out the written version of this article, and so you can go through this at your own pace, again, you can Google it, Barbend Best Greens Powders. It'll come right up. And I hope to see you for the next video.